It's 2022 and we're still trying to fill our insatiable hunger for boomer shooters. And yes, if you have the ability to remember games such as Doom or Quake, you are now a certified boomer.
We got a boomer!
Games such as Dust, Ultra Kill, and now Prodeus are exactly the games you're looking for to scratch that itch of high-speed, mindless first-person shooter gameplay. I myself have only played 2 out of the 3 just mentioned, being Ultra Kill and Prodeus. While Ultra Kill has an upper hand on Prodeus in terms of story, Prodeus comes out on top with its closer rendition of artistic style to Doom and movement of Quake. And let's be honest here, are we really playing these games for the story? Prodeus started as a Kickstarter in March of 2019 with a goal of 52,000, and under a month, 75,000 was pledged, eventually reaching a total of about 105,600 USD. As a way of thanks, there are a couple of levels with the names of backers portrayed on monuments. Much was well underway and the developers couldn't be happier. The developers Mike Voller and Jason Mojica are the ones to thank for the similarities to Doom and Quake. Both have a number of years of AAA game developer experience, and Voller wanted to use this opportunity to create a retro first-person shooter. As the game progressed, Andrew Hulshult was recruited for the soundtrack, and Josh Dragonfly O'Sullivan, a member of the Doom modding community, was recruited for level design. Overall, a very small team at Bounty Box Software, but can they deliver? I won't waste your time, the answer is yes, yes they can. Prodeus gives a modern look to Doom-inspired levels. There are several levels where the lighting really stands out and does wonders. The level design alone deserves its own commendation. I find the levels familiar to Doom 3, and furthermore, enemies in your guns are sprites that I think closely resemble Doom 64 style. Don't like it? Covered in blood. In all reality, you're able to, with the flick of a switch, instantaneously make the enemy models 3D. No restarting the game, no reloading the level, you can switch it on and off as much as you like. The way it works in more technical terms that I may not fully understand is that the game dynamically renders the 3D model to be a sprite. So the 3D model is always there, but in the background. While there is, as far as I know, currently no 3D models for the guns in game, they were all distinct from one another, so I always knew which type of firepower I would be using. Interestingly enough, it seems like they also do render these guns 3D with the pixels over top, but you just can't toggle it for some reason. They do however claim it is on the radar, though that was from 3 years ago. Originally, I was thinking that I didn't have much to say about the sound design. Then, the more I thought about it, there are some guns that I wish had a little bit more beef in their sound. Maybe that is a small critique to some, but hear me out. We play boomer shooters to fill that void, for that quick injection of dopamine. If there's a part of your game not up to par with the rest, it becomes easier to identify. Now, I want to be perfectly clear that I don't think the subpar gun sounds are a major issue. I think for how they currently are, it's good and passable, but I want them to be great. I don't want them to be just passable. They could definitely be better and reach the higher levels that their visuals and gameplays are currently at. The sounds of the enemies are on a similar level. And you can't really tell the enemies apart from one another, but I'd argue it's not really necessary. But enough with that. We all know the real reason we're talking about sound in this video, and that is because of the soundtrack. The soundtrack is 100% on par with the rest of the game. Andrew Hulshult did a fantastic job. The music is dynamic and plays a more intense track the more enemies you kill. This could be nice, but I felt took more away from the soundtrack rather than showing it off. Feeling the need to push forward isn't there when we have more tame idle track playing as you're exploring. I mean, seriously, why wouldn't you want to show this off? If you haven't figured it out by now, the gameplay is as simple as it can get. Run through the level, kill those who stand in your way, occasionally collect keys to progress, and reach the exit. Don't know where to go? It's 2022 and you're playing a boomer shooter. If there's enemies, you go there. If all hope is lost, there is an auto map you can pick up in every level, though you do have to find it first. And do I really have to say more? As previously stated, it's a fast-paced, mindless first-person shooter. Turn off your brain and let that sweet, smooth gameplay take over. Decimate everything in your way and paint the levels red. The movement is really nice, and I really found myself getting stuck on some phantom object thanks to the stellar level design. I'm playing on medium difficulty, and only died a couple times mainly because I was being an idiot and not paying attention. The biggest struggle in the entire game is managing your ammo, though the level design in this game is near perfect in terms of pacing out the ammo pickups. You'll constantly be switching between the 5 weapon types, and not for max kill efficiency, but because you ran dry. I love it, it really gives you a chance to try out each weapon. If you do end up running out of ammo, you can always resort to Old Faithful. A few of the weapons you unlock by progressing the game. There's a number you can unlock optionally through the shop, along with a few other upgrades like a double jump or dash. In order to purchase these items, you need to collect ores scattered and often hidden throughout the levels. Additionally, there are time trials for specific weapons you complete for a larger quantity of ore. You can access the shop, other levels, and those time trials on the world map, which feels a little too familiar. Maybe it's just me. How Long to Beat quotes Prodeus taking around 10 hours to do almost everything. If that isn't enough, Prodeus also includes a level editor, which includes the same exact tools the dev use. There's also a community workshop to download other players' level, which range from singular levels to entire campaigns. There are some really fantastic creations in here, and I highly recommend you give it a try. That isn't good enough, there is also multiplayer. Team deathmatch, co-op, you name it. And the best thing about it is you can even play those community-made levels with friends. Unfortunately for multiplayer though, their servers are not very lively, but it does seem like their Discord is, with a few players getting together every now and then to start something up. I think that's it for the gameplay. We can finally move on to the story. The best explanation it seems that anyone can come up with is that in the game Prodeus, you are a corrupted agent of Prodeus, hellbent on destroying the creator of you and the world. Who is Prodeus, you ask? The blue guys, not to be confused with the red guys. Chaos.
Chaos.
There are a couple logs you can access throughout the game that doesn't really add any additional information to the story other than just plain lore about the level itself. The longest text you get is at the end of the game after beating the final level, and it's not really much. I'm not even going to bother putting a spoiler tag, so this is your only warning. I don't mind it. Maybe it's just another nod to Doom. It really doesn't matter. Like I said earlier, who plays these games for the story? And maybe perhaps I'm not putting enough emphasis on the necessity for a story. Both Dusk and Ultrakill have their own unique stories, so why am I not faulting Prodeus for a single paragraph? I think for me, for these type of games, it really just boils down to, if there is a story, cool. If the story is literally 5 sentences long, great. Regardless of your opinion on the story, hopefully I've swayed you into trying out this game. Prodeus is a near-perfect boomer shooter with fantastic levels, crystal smooth gameplay, and a killer soundtrack. Its visual rendition is something long sought after, and is done on a masterful level. I think it's definitely worth its price, and at the time of this video's release, it is on Xbox and PC Game Pass.